Rachel, this was a very critical development. As you know, exactly 2 weeks ago, Minister Çavuşoğlu was in D.C., got together with his counterpart, Secretary Pompeo here, and agreed on this roadmap, basically. There were a lot of criticism at the time, whether this roadmap will be implemented anytime soon and whether it's going to stay on paper. And exactly in 2 weeks' time, we started seeing the results, the outcome. And today, Turkish forces were in Manbij and working together with its U.S. ally accordingly. So this is a very important development. As it was indicated in the piece before, U.S.-Turkey relations were going through a very difficult time. They still are, actually. And within this time frame, we haven't seen any positive development. From that perspective, this is a positive development and the right step towards the right step, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about the future of U.S. support of the YPG? Could we see the U.S. withdraw all support from the terror group?
That's, at this point, it's a little bit hard to tell because there's still a lot of criticism about the U.S. policy and what happened with regards to Syria and how U.S. handled the YPG. Obviously, from the White House, President Trump was insisted. Matter of fact, basically the outcome came because of President Trump's insistence on this issue. There seemed to be a little bit of divide between Pentagon and government officials as to what needed to be done. And as a result, with Secretary Pompeo, he came and he decided that this was the way to go. I think he definitely made a difference by coming in and changing the minds both in the White House and in the other side. And as a result, we saw some progress. But there's still some issues as to how things are going to shape up. I think those issues will be planned and talked later on. And at this point, this was the most important development. And after this, there will be more critical developments, get-togethers between the two officials, and figure out the next phases in this process.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're in Washington, D.C. Now. Talk to us about the reaction there from the U.S. side.
The reaction from the U.S. side is a little bit different. I was following all of the developments. Prior to this development, there was a lot of mistrust to Turkey, both on the Hill, especially from the Senate and on the Hill side. Basically, Turkey was blamed for working against U.S. interests in Syria, not cooperating with the U.S., and for its persistence and insistence on the YPG issue. They were being Turkish government was being labeled as basically not being a good ally. A lot of think tanks were writing about this issue, criticizing the Turkish administration's approach. And shortly after the meeting between the two government officials, again, the criticism was out there. From this point on, I think these issues will be resolved fairly quickly, I'm assuming, but the sticking points will remain. And some of these organizations, think tanks, were holding debates about this current issue and development. For example, today there was a think tank meeting, and they basically analyzed the outcome. And the critical point here is, I think, to summarize to the readers, to those who are watching, is that Turkey, by United States, by allowing Turkey to take place its footing in Manbij and go ahead with this phase in this mapping of this protocol, basically, it's indicating, telling Turkey that now you're a critical player in Syria and we're going to be cooperating with you from this point on. We're going to be basically back to allies, working like allies we used to.